Good morning, children. The topic for today's discussion is letter writing. We all know letter writing is very important, and we have been studying about letter writing means in previous classes also. Okay. Now here in class 12, it is the extension of the same. More maturity, better language, better expression is needed, so it continues. Now, what are the learning objectives of this topic? See, after studying this topic, you will be able to think independently about different issues and events which are there in the society or in your work life. Okay, definitely it is going to develop a high degree of creativity of thoughts in you. Third, it is going to enable you to enrich your vocabulary and command on the language. Remember this thing, there is always a difference between from a primary student to class 12th student. You are senior secondary student, okay? So your majority of language is definitely different from a class 5 student, okay? So that betterment of language is, okay, when you keep on studying the same topic in different classes when you go in higher classes. Fourth, it is going to equip you with a thorough knowledge of the subject. And finally, it is going to inculcate in you a better quality of expression in letter writing. So, let us read about this topic. Now, see, for this benefit, I have started it from the very basic. Letter writing in general, its meaning and objective. Then what are the different types of letters? And third is formal letter writing. See, we all know two types of letters, and here in your syllabus in class 12th, you have different categories of formal letter writing. So its meaning, objective, parts, format and categories are discussed in detail. Now, in this particular session, I am going to focus only on one subcategory of formal letter writing, that is business letter. So we are going to study in detail its objectives, format, guidelines and categories of business correspondence. Means letters, what are the categories or what are the situations for which we write letters. Now, very basic thing which you all know, it is recapitulation, it is your test of previous knowledge, what letter writing is. We all know a letter writing is a written message the writer sends others either by post or by courier. Right? There are situations which must be written, right? Okay? They should not be verbally transmitted. There is one more objective. What is that? If you talk verbally on some important issue, later on the other party may say that I have not got any information. To safeguard yourself, it is always better that it should be in writing. Now, there are two major objectives of letter writing. When we are writing a letter, what is the objective? Number one, to provide or seek information on some important topics, on some important issues, on some important events. Secondly, to express your ideas, feelings and emotions. Now, after learning about its objectives, we should know what are its categories. We all know it is divided into two categories, formal letter and informal letter. Now, formal letter, it is written to official authorities, in business dealings, to editors, to authorities of any institution. Okay, informal letter is personal letter which is written to personal relations. Now, formal letter, it is actually your official or business correspondence. It includes applications, letter to the editor of the newspaper, magazines, official letters from and to the companies, government departments and institutions. Institutions can be educational institutions, financial institutions, religious institutions, etc. And business letters from one company to another company, from company to customer, from customer to company. Okay, and the objective is trading and business dealings. Now, to handle this formal letter category, the language and tone should be objective, to the point, and formal. Whereas in informal letters, the language and tone is very easy, relaxed, and style is conversational. With this, since informal letter is not in class 12 syllabus, so we are not going to discuss in detail informal letter. We shall directly move on to the category which is important for you and which is in your syllabus, that is formal letter. Okay, now what we all have understood what formal letter means. In formal situations, when any written communication is conducted, we call it as formal letter writing. Now, its objectives. We must know what the objectives are of this category. See, the very first objective is it gives you chance to voice your opinion, okay, especially in case of when you are writing a letter to the editor of any newspaper or a school magazine. There are different activities in the school, there are various events in the school, okay, which are to be conducted. Clear? Then you seek permission from the official authorities, the school authorities. In the same manner, in society, you find something where you want to voice your opinion, you write a letter to the editor of the newspaper so that masses can read about your views. Number 2 objective is to get your problem addressed. Number 3 is to provide information on some issues or on some situations. Number 4 is to lodge a complaint against someone and to complain about. Okay, see what happens, there are many formal situations in business setup, in offices, where complaints must be validated. So what happens when you write a letter of complaint? Your complaints are validated by recording the facts in letters. Now no one can say no to your complaint. And finally, to place an order, especially in business letters, seek information, inquiry, send reply, and ultimately sell products and doing delivery. All these business situations are expressed in written communication. Now, what are the guidelines we should follow while drafting a formal letter? There are, 4 comprehensive guidelines. If you keep in mind, properly, definitely your writing will be very effective. Always remember, see, you are not the one who is writing a letter. There are n number of people who are writing letter and they may be better than you. So it is the effect which you create through your written communication, because official authorities have not seen everyone. They have not seen anyone. They see you through your expression of writing in the form of letter. So if you follow these guidelines, surely your voice will be effective. Number 1, see, since it is formal letter, you should be brief, clear, concise, and to the point. See, your information must be complete, but it should be in concise manner. It should be clear and it should be written in simple and less words. Second, use of a proper layout. A proper layout is fixed, and these layouts, as I am going to discuss this block format in detail in coming slides, so it can be block format or indented format. Now, what is the one basic line of difference between both? See, punctuation marks are adopted in indented format, but these are dispensed within block format. Third is use of language. The language should be simple and direct. Do not use ambiguous, floral, figurative language, which is thoroughly not up to the mark. It is unfit language. What is fit language? Simple and direct language. Fourth is be courteous while expressing your opinion. One thing is their complaint always arises because of dissatisfaction, okay, in different situations. So you cannot show your anger to that party, right? There also you have to be courteous and well-mannered. Criticism must be constructive, not destructive. So you should be polite and formal. Now, if what I want to summarize these 4 rules into 3 pillars of remembrance. Number 1, 3 golden rules. Number 1 is suitable format. Number 2 is well organized content. Number 3 is appropriate. Next important part of formal letter writing is what are the different parts when you are writing this letter. What are the different parts which constitute a complete letter? Okay. Number 1 is heading. See, as I already told you that block format is used. So block format means what? Each and every part is left aligned on the page. Okay. So the first part is we begin this letter with the heading. The heading, it has 2 subparts. Number 1 is sender's full address and number 2 is date of writing the letter. Okay. And the slides are, according to modern box type format, the heading is written at the left hand corner. Sender's name is never written in the address. Commas should not be inserted after each address line. If the address is not provided, fictitious address can be created. As you get the questions, many times, the address is not given. So you have to create one fictitious one or imaginary one. Date is just below the sender's address after leaving one space. What is the meaning of one space? One line space. Now, second part is the address inside. Address inside is nothing but receiver's address. Receiver's complete address, full address. Sender is writing the letter to some recipient. That recipient's address is known as the address inside. Okay. Here you must be wondering, many times you get this M/S. The full form is Messrs. Okay. So it should be avoided under 3 situations which are mentioned here. Number 1, before the names of the firms trading under impersonal names like the Professional Couriers, Kirti Kutir Industries, before the names of the firms beginning with singular pronouns such as Agrawal Sales Corporation, Manish Hardware Stores, and third is before the joint stock companies names like Reliance Industries Limited, Reliance Fresh Limited, Maruti Suzuki India Limited, etc. Third part is the salutation or greeting. Before addressing your problem, we must address the recipient in some courteous words. So that is known as salutation. So there are 2 categories of salutation. Number 1 is to acquaintances and to unknown persons. You can give personal attention to acquaintances like dear Mr. Kulkarni, dear Mrs. Hasti. It depends on your relation with that party. You can use such expressions. Otherwise, dear sir, madam, respected sir, madam, or unknown person, you can write simply sir or madam also. Number 4th is subject of the letter. Now here, little confusion arises in the mind of students. What is that? Subject in some letters, some examples, it is written before the salutation, and in some it is written after the salutation. So let me clarify one thing. It can be either above the salutation or below the salutation. It is correct. Okay, but you must coin subject beginning with preposition to, which is known as infinitive. Okay, like you have title to any story, in the same way this is title to the content of your letter. In short, in one line you are describing your entire content of the letter. So it should be very comprehensively drafted. Now, what are the guidelines we should follow while drafting a formal letter? There are, 4 comprehensive guidelines. If you keep in mind, properly, definitely your writing will be very effective. Always remember, see, you are not the one who is writing a letter. There are n number of people who are writing letter and they may be better than you. So it is the effect which you create through your written communication, because official authorities have not seen everyone. They have not seen anyone. They see you through your expression of writing in the form of letter. So if you follow these guidelines, surely your voice will be effective. Number 1, see, since it is formal letter, you should be brief, clear, concise and to the point. See, your information must be complete, but it should be in concise manner. After completing your main content, okay, the complementary clause, the letter comes to an end and you want to give a complementary clause to your letter. Okay, it is nothing but a refined way, a civilized way of ending your letter. The expression used must match the salutation. Okay, for business partners, customers, acquaintances, official heads, or boss, principal, you can write yours sincerely, faithfully, obediently, truly, depending on the situation. These 4 adverbs, anyone which is fitting there, you have to use. Let's say you are writing an application to the principal. Obediently will be proper. If you are writing to your boss, faithfully, okay. In the same way, to unknown person, you always write yours. After this, I have seen many more expressions about this. These can also be used, but look at what is fitting in which letter. Only then you should use all these. Otherwise, the one which are given in the previous slides, follow those. Now, 7th part is the signature. Signature is very important. If you leave that undone, then problem will arise. Okay, it is written just below complementary clause and includes signature, sender's name and designation in formal letter. Always remember, when you are writing complementary clause, after that you leave 4 lines or 3 lines space, and then signature word is never written. Their signature are put, and you need this much space to put your signature, and then sender's name and okay. Likewise, you can see in this slide how I have arranged this in the box. Yours sincerely, this is definitely 2 lines space, but you have to leave 3 to 4 lines of space. It should look good. Okay, now after that, 8th part is, these are some optional parts. In some letters you will find you will need it, in some letters you may not need it. Okay, number 1 part here is reference number. Okay, reference number, it appears between the writer's or sender's address and date. Here what happens, if you see any business organization, right? Okay, you are placing order for some items. So you are not the one customer of that business organization. There are thousands and lakhs of customers who are placing order. How these letters should be identified, how packaging should be done, how delivery should be done. Okay, so what happens, there are many people who are having the same name, so there should be some special code which should be given to each letter, so that you can be identified with that special code. This special code is not reference number which is given to different letters by the recipient organization. Clear? So it is very essential, and it's especially you will find in complaint letters and delivery letters. Okay. The next part is enclosures. A mention of enclosed papers and documents, if attached separately, is mentioned on the left hand side of the signature. It is always after the signature, name and date of the sender. Then last part is copies for circulation, which in short we call it as CC. In case it is necessary to send a copy of the letter to third person, this is indicated by CC, followed by the name and address, and it appears below the enclosures. Now, after completing all the parts of formal letter, now we should understand what are the different page formats which are followed while arranging different parts on the page. There are 6 formats mentioned over here. I will not go into deep because others are not in your syllabus, and this you can read and you can understand yourself. I just read the names: standard format, open format, block format, modified block, semi-block format and modified semi-block format. The red one is in your syllabus, so strictly follow block format in your formal letter arrangements. After this, I will give you marking scheme what CBSE follows for class 12th. See, format carries 1 mark, content 3 marks, and this content is further divided into content 3 marks, format 1 mark, and expression 2 marks. Expression is further divided into 2 parts: grammatical accuracy, appropriate words and spellings 1 mark, coherence and relevance of ideas and style is 1 mark. total 6 marks. Now, after learning about marking scheme, we should know what are the different types of formal letters, okay, which are in the syllabus of class 12th. Different types of formal letters. Number 1, business letters. Number 2, official letters. Official letters to civic authorities, to organizational institutions. Number 3 is letter to the editor, and number 4 is letter of application, especially job application or application to authorities. Now, today in this particular session, we are going to discuss in detail about business letters. Okay, other 3 categories we will take up in subsequent sessions. Now, business letter, very simple. It is used by organizations to communicate important information or messages in a professional manner with number 1, customers, number 2, other companies, number 3, clients, number 4, shareholders, and number 5, investors. Okay, the overall style of letter depends on the relationship between business parties. Okay, this is very useful in business situations. Why? Because it is an important written record. Always remember, in business, superficially we are friend to each other, but if we miss out any important details, other party may say that we are not proof of that. So, to insulate or to secure ourselves from these uncertain situations, we always create a written record of communication. So, business letters are very important in writing format. What are the essential qualities of business letter? Now, there are 2 types of qualities we have to keep in mind. Number 1, inner quality. Number 2 is outer quality. Inner quality means your letter must look professional. Number 2, it must give first impression that a potential client or buyer receives about you. Number 3 is it must show your maturity and professionalism, that you are really expert professional. That creates a positive impression in the market about you. Let us discuss each of them. Now, if we talk about inner qualities are actually the quality of language you use and the presentation of a business letter, okay, you do in front of other party. Now, there are 10 qualities which, if you keep in mind, definitely your inner quality is up to the mark. Number 1, your language should be clear, it should be simple, concise, concrete means specific, to the point. Accuracy, grammatical accuracy, language accuracy. Coherent means your content, your body of the letter must have content in consistent manner. There should not be any disjointed thought. Then next is complete. Your message should be completely written in that body. Now, only relevant details should be shared. You should be courteous in your language, and last is your presentation should be neat. Second part is outer quality. Actually, outer quality you are not going to show in your class 12th performance, because this is required once you are going to use this letter in your application or in your life in future. When you are applying for any job, when you are applying for any course, at that time you are going to put your letter into an envelope, and what should be the size of the page, what should be the size of envelope, how address should be written. All these things come under outer quality. But definitely this topic is technical writing. It is going to benefit you throughout your life, so this part is also important. But yeah, in class 12 it is not needed. Okay, so outer quality means your size of paper, quality of paper, color of paper, how to fold your letter, and how to keep inside the envelope, and ultimately what should be the envelope size and color. Okay. Now, business letter objectives. Now, what are the objectives of business letter? Number 1, to keep written record of various business dealings through commercial correspondence. Number 2 is to carry out various business activities of commerce, trade and industry smoothly. Now, If I talk about when you are writing business letters, what are the different business situations you record in these letters? There are 7 situations for which business letters are written. Number 1 is when you are making inquiry or asking for information. Now let's say you want to place bulk order of stationery items. So you are going to contact 4 to 5 suppliers, okay, where your rate, price, quantity match, you are going to place order to that supplier. But before that you are going to make inquiries, right? Then second is replying to the inquiries from suppliers, and when you receive the quotation as a return of as a reply of your inquiry, okay, this is from the other party. Then placing order or sending replies. After that, let's say you don't require anything, then you want to cancel your order. Another situation arises, you have to do in writing. Nowadays, 80% 90% work is done through email, but format is same. Letter for dispatch of goods, and then if any dissatisfaction arises in the business transaction right from placing order up to the delivery, then complaint arises. So these complaints are either for non-delivery, incomplete delivery, defective delivery, wrong delivery, or delayed delivery. These are the situations which constitute complaint letter in business letter categories. What are the parties of business letter? After learning so many situations for which letters are written in business, okay, we see that 3 categories are there as sender and receiver. Okay, actually these parties are buyers and sellers. Okay, it could be business to business. Okay, let me give you one example of Reliance Fresh. Reliance Fresh is supplying items to final customer, but it is also buying from somewhere else because it is not manufacturing unit. So it has its contact with various suppliers, okay, and it is catering to the needs of customers, varying needs of the customers. Okay, so when Reliance Fresh is arranging or buying items from different suppliers, this is known as B2B communication. I have given examples of Full Marks Company. From Full Marks Private Limited, any communication is done to various bookstores. It is B2B communication. Second is, it could be customer to business. So here, from any school library, annual customer to Full Marks Private Limited. It could be business to customer also. From Full Marks Private Limited to a school library or individual customers. Okay. So with this, our categories of parties of business letter is complete. Now next important part is format of a business letter. If you can see this picture, all those parts which I discussed in letter writing are over here. In this particular picture, the picture is good, but only subject is not given. So do not understand that subject is not part of business letter. It is very much part of business letter. Format which I have designed. See here, format. See this format I will give you in 2 ways. See, many companies or all the companies, they use their letterhead for any written communication. But there are companies which use plain paper. So plain paper means when no letterhead is used, then what should be your layout of business letter? It will be from telephone number, reference number. If it is given, only then you have to mention. Then sender's address, date, inside address, addressee's address, salutation, main content, signature, full name, designation, enclosure and CC if needed. Okay. Here, if you see in this format, the letterhead is given. So when letterhead is given, sender's address will not be mentioned separately. Okay. Because that address comes on the letterhead. That's why we don't require sender's address separately. That is only one difference between when letterhead is not used, when letterhead is. Now, after that, 8th part is, these are some optional parts. In some letters you will find, you will need it. In some letters you may not need it. Okay. Now, what we were discussing in letter writing, different types of page format means arrangement of different parts of letters on a page. Okay, so as I told you, in CBSE formal letter writing we have only one format, that is block page format. What is that? The block format has a left aligned address and closing. If you see, each part is beginning from the left hand margin. That is known as block style format or block format. Okay, the body of the letter is single spaced with one line left in between each paragraph, and these paragraphs are not indented. Students, for the caution, I have written this statement here. Students, you must practice this format only, no other format. Just to enhance your knowledge, I have given one more, modified block format. What is that? It is modified block format has right aligned address and closing. Other parts are all left aligned. Only sender's address and closing is left aligned. Okay, but this is not in CBSE. Okay. Now, what are the points you should keep in mind while following page format? First of all, alignment. As I have told you, it is all parts are left aligned, so they should be left aligned only. Okay. Spacing, whatever spacing has been recommended, follow that spacing. Especially single spaced, barring aside your signature and complementary close 3 to 4 lines of space. Other places only one line of space is needed. Lines, when using a letterhead, be sure to add a horizontal line underneath it. You can refer to our letters above to see some examples. Okay, leave aside these lines because you will not be getting any letterhead. Then margins on the page. When you're writing, especially in your answer sheet, you begin from the left hand margin and you end till the last point of the line. No, don't do like that. Always create margins on both the sides of the paper, and then in the middle space you draft your letter. Now, if we talk about inner qualities are actually the quality of language you use and the presentation of a business letter. Okay, you do in front of other party. Now, there are 10 qualities which, if you keep in mind, definitely your inner quality is up to the mark. Number 1, your language should be clear. It should be simple, concise, concrete. Concrete means specific, to the point. Accuracy, grammatical accuracy, language accuracy. Coherent means your content, your body of the letter must have content in consistent manner. There should not be any disjointed thought. Then next is complete. Your message should be completely written in that body. Now, only relevant details should be shared. You should be courteous in your language, and last is your presentation should be neat. Okay, remember this thing. These are the some of the ways you can open your letter constructively and effectively. But while using language, you should be polite and formal. Okay, especially in inquiry letter, introduce yourself and mention your requirement. And third is ask for detailed information about the product, price, discount, terms and condition, etc. About complaints, again you have to be polite and formal. That is the foremost quality. Introduce yourself and describe clearly what your complaint is. Describe the complaint in effective language. Remember that the letter is only a medium to address the issue. Ask them to provide a structured solution. Some examples I have given. You can see that this is actually for complaint letter, how properly each and every part is arranged. It is block format, how properly information is given. Okay, here subject is not given, but you can see the overall content just for an example. Now from here I have written some practice exercises. Do not do these practice exercises at this time. I have already sent you one more PDF file which contains 4 to 5 sample examples. You first write down those sample examples in your notebook. After that, I am going to give out of these 5, 2 questions to do on your own to test your understanding of the topic. This is about place. Okay. Now, what are the points you should keep in mind while then cancelling? Complaint against late delivery and defective delivery. These are some of the 5 questions. With this, the topic on business letter ends over here. Complete your work as directed, and next session will be conducted, that is letter writing part 2 on official letter and letter to the editor. Thanks, and stay at home, stay safe with good health. Thank you very much, all of you.